The new Claude 3.57 update is absolutely insane. I'm going to be talking you through it today. This is the most intelligent model to date from Anthropic. It just got announced a few hours ago, and it also comes with hybrid reasoning, right? So it can produce near instant results as well as extended step-by-step thinking. You can see some examples of it right here. And this could be absolutely insane. On top of that, they're also releasing an agentic coding tool called Claude Code. We'll come on to that later. If you want to get access to it, it's available at Claude.ai. You don't have to pay for this. It is free. They do have a premium pricing plan, but if you want to get it for free and just test it out with the limits, then you just select Claude 3.7 Sonnet from Claude AI. Now, this also comes with a token context window, computer use as well. You can also get the API for it as well on top of that, so you can actually code with it and build stuff and automate things with it. Now, if you're wondering, okay, what are the use cases and how does this work? So Claude 3.7 Sonnet can understand nuanced instructions and context, recognize and correct certain mistakes, and create sophisticated analysis and insights from complex data, combined with state-of-the-art coding, vision, and writing skills. And so it has pretty much everything you can think of when it comes to using a model. On top of that, you've got code generation, so it can create code. It can actually use computer use. So if you integrate the Claude API, you can actually direct Claude to use computers the way you would. It's also great for creating your own tools and custom prompts because you can upload a lot of knowledge to it because it has such a large context window of 200k tokens and low rates of hallucination. It's really good for like knowledge Q&As. It can analyze data, and you can see the key benchmarks here. So this is Claude 3.7 Sonnet versus Claude 3.5 Sonnet versus OpenAI O1, DeepSeek R1, and Grok 3 Beta. And you can see here that it's actually outperforming on many different levels the newest models from OpenAI, right? So OpenAI scored 79.7 on the high mode, whereas 3.7 Sonnet has got 84.8%. Now, one of the biggest differences here is that this has a different philosophy from other reasoning models, right? So like a human, with your brain, you can reflect deeply, but you can also answer things quickly as well if you need to. This is very similar to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So it can do deep thinking, but it can also answer questions quickly as well, depending on the use case and the situation. So let's test this out. So if you want to get started with this, go to Claude. Then you're going to select Claude, and that's Claude 3.7 Sonnet. You can choose your style, but we'll stick with the normal one for now. And we'll use a prompt that I often use for writing content. All right, so we'll take this content right here. This is a prompt that we use for creating SEO articles, and we'll plug that into Claude 3 Sonnet, and we'll see how that performs. So it's doing its magic. It's got the canvas, which is what Claude usually has. So it's coming up with a canvas on the right-hand side, and we'll compare that versus Claude 3.5 Sonnet, right? So the previous model that came out in October 2024. So we'll use exactly the same prompt, and we'll compare them side by side. So we've got the article back from Claude 3.7 right now. Let's check the word count. So that's coming out at 918 words, nicely formatted, reads very nicely, very humanized. It's done exactly what we've asked it to do, and it's looking pretty good. If we compare that to Claude 3.5 Sonnet, let's check that out. So you can see here the older model, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which was up till yesterday the best model in the world for writing humanized content, that only came out at 491 words. So you can see a big difference between them. Same prompt, different outputs. The style of writing is very similar, to be fair. Like the writing itself, I wouldn't say there's a huge difference in how it's been written, even the last title in both. So this is 3.5 and this is 3.7. And you can see here that the title is pretty much the same. However, the length of the content is much longer when it comes to 3.7 Sonnet. Now let's test it out for coding. So I'm going to open up a new chat inside Claude 3.7. We'll start a new chat here. And I'm going to say, turn this into an awesome one-page landing page, CTA throughout. Here's the link. Here's all the information that you need to include, etc. And then we'll hit enter and we'll see what that generates, right? So this is basically creating like a one-page landing page for a website about AI automation, a new service that we're launching for clients. And it's really fast. Now, one thing I want to do as well is I'm going to compare this side by side with Claude 3.5. And by the way, if you want all the prompts from today, link will be inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. And if you want to go back to any of the old models, just click the drop down and then go to more models, and then you can choose 3.5 Sonnet right there. Now, we've got the output back from 3.7, which we've loaded on the model here. Gonna be 100% honest with you. Look at this. So if we open this up, that is not looking great at all, right? You've got white text on a white background. That's not a good sign. we scroll down, okay, does this link to the right place? Absolutely. It's created a landing page. I wouldn't say it's the best landing page I've ever seen. So it's pretty basic right there for coding. For content writing, it seems to be a lot more impressive. What we can actually do is we can copy these artifacts. So once you actually build a piece of code or a tool inside Claude, you can publish it, and then you can grab the link for artifacts. Now, if we compare side by side, this is the page from 3.7 Sonnet, and this is the page from 3.5 Sonnet. Which one looks better? Honestly, I'm going to say that 3.5 Sonnet is a lot better by a long way, right? So the number one, you can actually read the text. That helps. If we scroll down, the font here is a lot nicer on 3.5 Sonnet, which is interesting. And then if we scroll down here as well, just this bit here is similar. But yeah, side by side, I'm going to go with 3.5 Sonnet on that one. And again, like, what coding model would use white background with white text? That does not make sense to me when it comes to UI. So for humanized writing, it's really good. For actually coding landing pages, doesn't seem to be great. But I think the best way to use this is you would actually go onto something like Visual Studio Code. You can download that for free. Then you're going to use something like Cline. And inside Cline, you can actually go to the settings. I've got other videos on that if you want to learn about it. And once it's available, you would select 3.5 Sonnet. Doesn't seem to be available on the API just yet. But if we switch over to OpenRouter, like you can see right here, we can select Claude 3.7 Sonnet inside the settings. We can go done on that. That's going to be using 3.7 Sonnet. And then if we open up a new chat, we use exactly the same prompt and see what we get instead. All right, so we're going to plug this in. The code is being generated now. Seems pretty fast, to be fair, when it's creating the process. And would you like me to proceed? Would you say yes? And by the way, if you're not sure how to set this up, let me show you exactly how to set up Visual Studio Code so you can start building with it. So you go to code.visualstudio.com. You can download this for free. Then from there, inside Visual Studio Code, you go to extensions, install Cline, right? Cline is free also. And then you navigate to Cline, and inside the settings, go to OpenRouter, select the model as 3.7 Sonnet. If you're not sure how to set up OpenRouter, you go to openrouter.ai, sign in, grab an API key from here, and then you'll get access to Claude 3.5 Sonnet, like you can see. Seems pretty cheap as well, so that's cost us 5 cents so far to build out this project, and it's building out the final CTA now. So I'm excited to see what we get back. Hopefully it's better than the output from Claude. It can only be better than this, right? And then you can switch between plan and act mode inside Cline, right? So plan mode is like where you plan the whole website, and then act mode is where it will actually start coding out the project. So if we open this up, you can see it's now coding the files inside our project, and all we did was just literally just give it one prompt. The other cool thing about Claude is like it can actually preview pages inside the chat. So you can actually look at the website, preview it, and then self-iterate on that, kind of like a coding agent, which is super good. In the meantime, whilst that's coding out, let me show you some other stuff. So Claude 3.7 Sonnet is now available in Cursor as well. Here's a tool built by McKay Wrigley. So they actually built their own SaaS tool, Saasify, like you can see right here with Next.js. That looks pretty cool. Here's another one that's super interesting. Look at this, 3D microtonal music visualization. Pretty amazing that you can build that. And again, anything you build, you can actually share. Now, if you look at the agentic coding evaluation, so 3.7 Sonnet is far above 3.5. O1 is all the way down here. DeepSeek R1 is even further behind, and then GPT-4o is down there too. So let's come back to our project inside Visual Studio Code. Look at this. We've got a nicely organized landing page. This is the difference between coding directly inside the chat on Claude 3.7 Sonnet and just building inside Cline, where you get much better results. So this is the same prompt, but a totally different landing page. And the results, that link works perfectly to the nicely designed. I think you could make the design even nicer, but you get the point. And you can see here it walks people through our AI time machine process. By the way, if you do want to book in a call about this, link in the comments description. And also the bonuses, it's added like nice emojis, the value, etc. That is so much nicer than it was previously. Like, it looks way, way better. If you compare it versus this was terrible. But with coding inside Visual Studio Code, we built out a much nicer landing page. I think the content itself as well is pretty decent. Like, it reads nicely, 700 words on the landing page. That would probably convert if you send traffic to it. And the API seems really fast too. So you can see here it says, task completed. I've created a landing page that includes professional design, responsive layout, key sections, the navigation menu. Here are our multiple CTAs. And then also the hover effects and gradient on the backgrounds and everything else. And it opened that up automatically inside Visual Studio Code. So really impressive, like for the coding too. Just make sure that you're using the right process, right? So if you're going to create content, go inside the chat. If you're going to be coding, I would recommend you use a coding agent like Visual Studio Code paired with Cline, and then just add OpenRouter to the settings. But yeah, really cool stuff. Also, if you want training on how to set up Cline, how to use Cline 3.4, how to run MCP servers with Claude and Cline, then we have tons of training inside the AI Profit Boardroom, so feel free to get that, link in the comments description, along with all the prompts from today. Let's test something else out now. So we'll just say build a self-playing snake game, just to keep it simple and see what it can do. The good thing about this as well is normally if you have a reasoning model, it's really slow to reply, and it's in thinking mode for ages. This just seems to come back to us straight away. And also, here's the other thing, is if you compare this versus Grok, if you go inside Grok and you ask it to do exactly the same thing, so build a self-playing snake game, right? We'll ask it to do that. Grok doesn't have a canvas option. So it's going to create the code, which is awesome, and it's super fast, but you can't preview it unless you set up the Python code and run that on another system, right? Whereas, for example, inside Claude, this will just build it out straight away. And if you hit start, so that looks really cool. Like the process was incredibly easy. We just said build a self-playing snake game, and it just went off and did it. And the design is pretty nice on that too. If we compare that to something like Grok, which is probably the closest thing, we're going to run that on Trinket.io with the Python code. So you can just plug in Python code here and run it directly, and we'll hit run. We'll see whether that works. It's just a lot more fiddly, right? And also look at the UI of this versus the UI of this, right? Which one looks nicer? So for me, for building out games, Claude inside the chat is really good. For writing human content, Claude 3.7 Sonnet is 10 times better than Claude 3.5, which was already good. And then for coding, just use something like Cline as well. Now, if we actually say to Cline, okay, the UI of the page, I just want to see if Claude 3.7 Sonnet can preview pages in the same way that 3.5 Sonnet can do. So also one thing to be careful as well is like when you switch from think, plan to act mode, make sure that you have 3.7 beta selected right there as well. And then one thing I want to check here is like preview the UI of the page and self-iterate on it. And I want to see if Claude can actually preview the page, because 3.5 Sonnet can, and it can use browser use and everything else. I want to see if the beta version can as well. Let's see if it can. I'm not sure that it can, because usually what you would get from Claude is like a preview image inside the chat here, if you could actually look at the UI and improve it. Whereas it just seems to be able to launch it in your browser, which any API can do. The other thing as well, if we zoom out here, we're like, okay, let's take a screenshot of this. Then we're going to go over to Claude again, and that snake is getting really long now. And we'll start a new chat, and I'll say, okay, clone this. This is my website. And it can basically, because it's a multimodal model, and because it has access to vision, and it can preview images, like the one we just uploaded inside the chat, you can actually say, just clone this, and it will build out the same page inside the artifacts feature, and you get all the code, plus you get the preview of it as well. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all of the prompts and the SOP from today, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. You get access to all of our best tutorials on email and content automation, social media automation and videos, AI automation workflows and agents, etc. This is all inside here. And if you go inside the SOP section, where the new section called Claude 3.7 Sonnet, the prompts from today will be inside there along with an SOP. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. This also comes with my best workflows on like NA10 agents. It's got a 3.5-hour course on DeepSeek. It shows you how to build like autonomous Gemini agents that can just go off and write emails for you and everything else. And also comes with a community of 100 members who you can ask for advice, right? So if you have any questions, just post in the community. We're happy to help you. You can see we all jump in to help people as well. And additionally, this comes with weekly Q&A calls with us, right? So if you want to jump on a weekly Q&A call with me, we've actually got one happening tomorrow. So if you sign up today, you can get access to that. You can jump on the call with me tomorrow, as well as getting instant access to all the prompts, SOPs, and my best AI agent workflows. Top of that, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to put that link in the comments description. On link building acceleration session, you'll get a free SEO domination plan custom tailored to your business. You will discover the secrets of SEO link building, or answer any questions you have one-to-one. You'll learn the best link building strategy for your website, plus how to quickly outrank your competitors to link building, and how to turn SEO traffic based on what's working for us, and are happy clients like you can see right here. Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching. Bye.